Hello, and welcome to tektime.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tech Time, the show based on technology and the people that drive it. My name is Ash, and I'll be your guide on this fantastic journey of discovery and enlightenment as we try and smash the shackles of ignorance and bring technology from the darkness into the light. And we always try and have you guys, bring you guys pioneers and trailblazers in the world of technology. And this time it is no different. We have got Drummond Reed from Respect Network.com. Sorry about that, Drummond. Welcome to the show. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Okay, now just for a little bit of housekeeping, where are you right at this moment?
I'm in Seattle, Washington, where it's raining like a banshee right now.
Oh, wow. We've got a beautiful sunny day here. Shorts and singlet material for us today, I think, in sunny down under Melbourne.
Well, up here in the northwest corner of the U.S., we're known for rain, and we're getting plenty of it right now.
The standard day in Seattle.
That's right.
So let's just give us a bit of background about yourself there. Now, you are the CEO of a website called respectnetwork.com. Sorry if I got it wrong before. So how did you get started with that? And what's the network all about?
Sure. Well, it's actually not just a website. We're building a global network. It's the first global network for trusted personal data exchange. And that means, very simply, we're trying to do for the exchange of personal data between people and businesses, the same thing that credit card networks like Visa and MasterCard did for money. Make it very easy and very safe for people to be able to store their personal information online and then share it with exactly who they want to.
Okay. And when did this company come about there, Drummond?
Sure. It actually started 4 years ago, and based on work that the founders had been doing for the past 15 years in the industry in internet identity, security, privacy, trust, and data exchange. And we came together because we saw there was an enormous opportunity for a new network like this, ironically because of the success of Facebook. We said, wow, if over 1 billion people will join a network where all the personal data is going to one company and centralized in one place so they can monetize it, well, then how many people would join a network whose whole purpose is to help them privately and safely share their information with exactly who they want to?
Well, that's a great idea. You've actually taken the Facebook sort of premise and sort of flipped it on its head, haven't you guys?
That's exactly right. And we have over 70 what we call founding partner companies in the network. And I'm very happy to say that almost a dozen of them are down under. One of our 4 launch events in June and July was in Sydney. It's one of my favorite events. It was the first time I'd been there. And man, I want to come back soon. That's a great set of companies down there that we're partnered with.
Were you disappointed there wasn't kangaroos jumping down the street, Drummond?
No, I've been prepped for that. But it's a beautiful city, and I was not disappointed with things like the Opera House or did ferry rides there in Sydney Harbor, and man, I fell in love.
Yeah, it is a beautiful town. We're very, very spoiled here. So look, let's just you touched on a couple of key points about personal security, about having your data in the cloud and all sort of stuff like that. So look, let's just go back to basics. About a week ago or something, there was Jennifer Lawrence and Kim Kardashian, one of the 2 major celebrities that actually had their identity compromised or some of their personal details compromised. What was that all about there?
So they were using Apple's iCloud service, which is an example of what we call personal cloud, a cloud where you put personal data up in the cloud, and they had their accounts hacked. And hackers were able to get in, and unfortunately they were sharing very intimate. They had stored personal photos on there that they were able to get access to, and then go out and post on the internet.
Wow. Your worst case scenario, basically, you thought you had a nice secure little area on the web somewhere and you put all your personal stuff there, and next it's floating around the internet for everybody to see.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, there's a lot of discussion around the cloud and how it's enabling, and it is tremendously powerful in terms of how it helps us share information. But it depends on what cloud you're using and how safe it is. And that's a large part about what we're doing with the Respect Network is we're enabling private personal clouds that are not from a single company. It's much more like choosing a bank and deciding, I want to use this bank because they've got the highest security, or they've got the easiest set of applications I can use to share information, but they're able to compete on trust, and it's not just a service from a single company where when there's a vulnerability, it's a vulnerability for thousands or millions of people.
Well, you raise an interesting point there about personal responsibility. Once you upload something to that cloud, where does the responsibility shift to? Does that make them liable for that? I mean, it's like going to a bank. It all looks pretty at the front, but when they take your money and they throw it in a cart at the back, that doesn't seem too secure. And this is something similar to that, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. But I mean, the banking system is actually a good analogy because again, things like Apple iCloud or Google's or other large offerings, they're from a single company, and it'd be a little bit like us all using, worldwide, just 2 or 3 banks, right? Whereas the banking system spreads out the risk because it means you have a bank, local to you or in your country that you can say, I'm comfortable with that one. And if someone breaks into a bank, they only get into that one bank. And if they compartmentalize it, they only get into part of that bank. So by spreading it out and saying, yes, we need everyone to be able to have a choice of where they want their personal cloud, and we need many providers competing to do that on an interoperable network, that's how we're going to get much stronger security and reliability in being able to store your personal data online.
Yeah, so if you guys, just say those 2 celebs had their stuff on your network, how would that differ then?
So they would have chosen a specific, what we call a cloud service provider on the network. It's the equivalent of a bank. And with that particular cloud service provider, they would turn around and set up, here's how I'm going to protect my data. This is how I'm going to prove who I am when I log in. And that's what happened is these celebrities' logins were compromised. And that's because, providers like Apple have to use a very standard system for many, many people. And so they have to make it sort of very standard, and to some extent, it means it's vulnerable. Whereas if you pick a particular cloud service provider on the Respect Network, you can work out exactly what works best for you in terms of how you secure that login. And it's going to be different for different cloud service providers and different people. So a hacker can't come along and break in and get access to a whole bunch of information. If they really want to target one person, just like if someone wants to rob your house and they spend a month casing the joint, they can probably find a way in. But then they have to do the same thing for the next person, and it tends to deter criminals trying to break in.
Or they'll go somewhere else to find an easier mark. That's normally how it does. You just got to make it as hard as possible so they can move on to the next person. That seems to be like the seagull approach. Yeah, just move them along.
Well, that's why I love to point out, when's the last time you read about, a hacking attempt into a banking system, right? That's the bank's job, is to really protect that information well. And so you don't read about it, whereas we're reading about personal data breaches almost every day in the newspapers.
Yeah, well, one thing I will say about banking, even if they did get hacked, would they tell us though, Drummond? That's the other question you would say. How much of that do they actually disclose to us, whether or not they got hacked? Because that's a major problem. If banks are getting hacked willy-nilly, who's going to be putting them? What sort of trust would you have with them there, Drummond?
Yeah, it's good. And it's why I can't speak for Australia. In the US, we've actually got laws about if they are hacked, they have to disclose that, and they have to disclose it to their customers. They didn't used to have to do that, but now it's like, okay, we need to know.
Yeah. So the service that you guys provide, which is actually quite a good service for somebody to get access to, say, a particular person's details or cloud service, they're going to have to know which provider they've actually gone to and then try and get into that provider and actually be able to access that account. So it's a lot different from where everything goes into one funneling point, isn't it?
Yes, that's a key, huge difference there. Excuse me. And in addition, as I said, each provider is of the cloud service is competing on how they provide that higher level of authentication, how you prove who you are, and the keys you use to get into your cloud. That's another key difference is on the Respect Network. As we're developing the capabilities of these of the private personal clouds, you will also be able to have your own keys that are on your own devices. So even if you broke into the cloud, you'd still only get encrypted data, and it wouldn't do the hacker any good.
Okay, another layer that they'd have to get through.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just, can you just storyboard this for me there, or roadmap it for me? I am Joe Average here. I want to get access to your services. How would I do that, and how would I get cloud enabled?
Right. Okay. So first key point. Today you can sign up for the network. We have an ability for people to come and say, yeah, I want to be a member of the network, and it's a what we call premium membership. We're going to be opening the network to cloud services next spring. That's when the first clouds and the first applications will come online. So we have about 30 partners that are working on applications for the network. So we're going to have another announcement. We're probably going to have an event there in Australia when you can first come on and start saying, okay, now I can start moving data. I can start using these apps. So that's the stage we're at right now. Again, we've been building this for 4 years. So we're very excited to get to that stage so you can actually say, okay, I can start using one of these clouds instead of just the offerings from the largest providers.
Okay. And is there a cost, Drummond, to this service?
So there is a cost today if you want to join up and get what we call your cloud name, which is literally the address of your cloud, where you can send and receive data from that. You can sign up for that, and it's US 25. I think it's 30 Australian to sign up for that. When we get to the opening next spring, there will be an option to just sign up for the network, start using apps, and there won't be a charge.
Okay, and so what does Respect Network, what value add do you guys add for users there when they sign up?
Sure. So besides, of course, the whole infrastructure of letting you have a private personal cloud and then share the information just where you want, the business model for the network, again, there's no advertising. We don't even have access to your data, right? You control your data. So the business model is businesses will pay to have a connection to your personal cloud. If you want to go to, say, a clothing retailer and you want the site personalized with only showing your sizes and your favorite colors, one button you can click, authorize a connection to your cloud, and now you can access to share your clothing profile, and they can take care of all that. And they pay for that.
Who are they paying? Are they paying you or are they paying me?
They're paying both of us. In fact, that fee
even better.
Yeah, that's right. That fee is split 3 ways. Well, a third of it goes to you, a third of it goes to your cloud service provider to pay for your cloud, and a third goes to the network to provide the infrastructure. So we all win, and we all win by being aligned on privacy.
That's quite unique. So basically, you are saying what ads I want to see and for how long I want to see it for, and you're going to make money off what they're going to show you as well at the same time. Are we talking like microtransactions here? Are we talking monthly payments, or how does that work?
So we are talking monthly payments, and it's not advertising based. Again, what it is the business is paying for access to some information you're willing to share with the business. Like, for instance, as I said, the clothing profile with the clothing site. And now, if that site then says, well, hey, I can show you some ads that are more relevant, that's between you and that site. But the network itself does not have any advertising.
Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Is there any limitations on how many people you could allow in to show you stuff or anything like that? There's some sort of governance around that?
It's all up to you. Every single connection is opt-in. You don't have no one has access to your cloud until you say, yes, I want to go click a Respect Network button on, at this bank, at this healthcare provider, at this e-commerce. You decide. It's just like you decide who's in your address book today, right? It's all about who you want to have connections with. They're all private permission connections. And if you don't want one, you just turn it off.
Wow. That's the complete opposite of other social networking sites, isn't it? Where they just monetize it and show you whatever the hell they want based on their metrics.
It is the complete opposite. And, I would say, we're just more and more since we announced the network this summer, we're just having people come and go, oh, wow, I really get it. We need this. We need a way for people to share information privately the same way that the other social networks are helping them share it publicly. So I think that's great. I'm a big fan of social networks. I just think we need a way to control the private sharing of our information as well as ways to share publicly.
Yeah. So, and on your site, is there a way for users within your community there to chat with each other? Do you have any social interaction in there with, I can message somebody or post some stuff, anything like that?
Right. That's what's coming next spring. Is again, so the developers are working on apps, all of which are going to be private sharing, right? So some folks are calling this private social networking, right? You can have just the social network of who you want, and you can join multiple of those, and it all works the same way because it's all happening on a network where everyone's agreed to respect your privacy.
Fantastic. So the only other question I want to ask you about that is, so if you do start making money out of this, do we have to give you personal banking details, or we have to set up a PayPal account, or how does that work?
Well, in order for us to pay you your portion, your share of what we call the relationship fees that businesses are paying, you're going to have to tell us somehow where that money needs to go. But that doesn't mean you have to share the banking details with us. If you got a PayPal account, we just credit it there. If you have, electronic funds transfer, we credit it there. You're not sharing. Again, we as the network, we not only don't have access to your data, we don't want it, right? Our job is to preserve trust and make the whole network work. Your cloud service provider even shouldn't have access to those details. Everyone gets paid for basically helping you control your information.
Okay, and for the basic package, I suppose it is with the provider, but it's about how many gig would I get initially to start off with?
So that's actually, providers are going to compete on that in terms of what they're offering you. And we expect it's going to be early on in the range of what, for instance, a Dropbox might offer. But all I can say is wait and see what's coming, because this is a whole new economic model, and providers are saying, wow, I want to get a lot of customers on this, because as your cloud service provider, what's that?
I've got a piece. They want a piece of that action, yeah? Because it looks like it's going to be quite a little nice little enterprise you guys have got going there.
Well, that's what we want to do, and we want to create a real business for each of these cloud service providers too. We want them to have a clear way to make money off helping you control your data instead of them trying to monetize it. We call it competing for your trust instead of for your data. And we believe that there's going to be a huge market for it, and that's what the web needs.
Yeah. Just one more question. So me as Joe Average, now I'm a bit more technical than the average person. How am I going to know what is a good provider? Do you have a ranking system or something like that? Or how would I say that's a good one, that's a bad one, this is a good value? How does that work?
So the answer is the network has a reputation system. And everyone on the network, every person, every business, every cloud service provider is part of that reputation system. So as providers start doing a good job for their customers, their reputation will go up, and they do a poor job, their reputation will go down. It's very much just like, eBay or, Yelp or Reddit. Web scale reputation systems have proved, if they're designed well, they can really do a good job of helping people understand who's doing it, who's worth trusting and who's not. So that's a core part of what we call the respect trust framework, the legal underpinnings of the whole network.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look, so if I was to say, if you could fast forward, say 12 months from here now, Drummond, what would you envision Respect Network to be?
Well, we have a first set of apps out there, which we anticipate are going to, they're viral in the way that apps for social networks can be viral. We see a network that's going to be growing quickly. Again, it doesn't look anything like a social network. It's all about trusted private data sharing. And we see providers coming on, and the first businesses out there saying, hey, I get it. I want to connect to the network. I want to start having these trusted connections with individuals, and it just keeps growing from there.
Yeah, you could see it growing exponentially. Well, look, I'm a fan. I will say that. You've convinced me in about 12 minutes there, Drummond. I'm probably going to sign up as soon as I get off this interview with you. So if people want to find out more information about the Respect Network, where do they go?
They can go to respectnetwork.com. And again, when you go there, you can actually sign up and get your cloud name. It starts with an equal sign, and that is a global lifetime address that you'll use for your cloud. private address. When you're there, you will then pick one of the 5 cloud service providers that are already active today that you can go and you can sign up and you'll have an account there. And then they will tell you as we get, we go into next year, they'll start telling you, hey, here are the apps that are coming out. Here's the services we're going to start offering, and you'll be on board.
Beautiful. So everybody just look down here. There should be a URL coming up right about there with the details. So that's where you go, respectnetwork.com, and you can find out all the information that you need about this wonderful, innovative product. And I will say it is very innovative. Thank you for your time there, Drummond.
Thank you very much. And again, there's 70 founding partners that are also listed on the website, so you can go visit them too and find out more what all of them are doing.
I will. I'll be the first one then. I think everybody else go in there. At least check it out. What do you got to lose? You can even make money out of people showing you ads, which is a fantastic model. I like it.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. You bet.